Hello, it's me, Ellen from The Winding Leaf. I come to you from Berlin, Germany, and today we are doing another plant swap unboxing with Vali from Valium's Urban Jungle. She lives in Athens, that's in Greece, and she sent me a box with lots of cuttings, and I theoretically would unbox this but I already did, and it was as I suspected, because this little box was in transit for over 2 weeks in very, very cold conditions, and of course everything is dead. So anyway, let's start at the beginning. I promise you we will still have a lovely, cool, interesting video ahead of us. So I became aware of Vali on the suggested list of YouTube. There was something popping up with a very interesting looking thumbnail. It was a hand-drawn thumbnail with lots of plants and a cat and cool font, and the title was something nerdy info about blah blah blah, and I clicked on it because also I'm a nerd in my heart. And I was super impressed with the amount of work she's still putting into her videos, researching all the things, making drawings, putting the information on the screen. I was like, wow, this is the person I was waiting for. She is going to be our professor, our YouTube plant professor lady. And I wrote her and said, Vali is super cool. Please never doubt yourself, because she was a little bit like me in the beginning. Not so sure in front of the camera, but this is normal. This is how we all start. And we started texting on Instagram, and I encouraged her to put more of her artwork and her nerdy information into the videos, because we all need this. She's the only person so far that really can pronounce and describe the reason behind all of the Latin plant names, because first of all she speaks Greek because she is from Greece. She speaks Latin, or she knows Latin. Nobody speaks Latin. She knows Latin, and she knows Italian language, and that's why she can combine all of this together and explain the name of a plant. The second thing is, she also likes to research all the people behind plant names. For instance, why are Hoyas called Hoya? I'm not going to spoil it. You need to watch a video about it. So she is super cool. I would really highly encourage you to check her out. I leave the title here and in the description box below, and she is a lovely lady, and we need her. We don't need just only like, this is the plant I bought and this is the plant I have, like me and every other YouTuber. Not, this is all super cool, but also I would like that we have a voice that explains to us things. Yeah, so that's why. Go and give her some love. But anyway, so I sent her a box. At least one of the plants also had cold damage and is probably in a process of dying. And she sent me a box. And I'm going to show you the dead cuttings. It's not her fault, it's post, Look. So all of them look more or less like this. Or like this. So I'm going to try and save what I can from this. I have no idea what the plants are, because for some reason you all are forgetting to put the names in when you send people stuff. I think this could be a Hoya. I have no idea. I'm so bad with that. I will figure it out. This is also, I think, a Hoya retusa or something like that. Please don't come for me. And this one, this lovely thing. This looks like it might survive, because the hardier looking leaves, also this one, I think this has a chance of survival. So I will put them in water, send them very good vibes and hope all can be, corrected and will be getting good. The plant she sent me with the root ball lost half of its leaves already. They are in the box, but the rest looks like I could work with that. So I'm going to give it a try, because why not? Anyway, so I was thinking, what can I say to, get you in the mood to be more interested in botany, history, natural history and stuff like that, and why I also like to read about it and learn more about it. And also Christmas is coming up, and maybe you have some days off and don't want to spend your whole time watching YouTube videos, because there comes a point, believe me, where you can't watch anymore. Maybe you want to read something or listen to a cool audiobook. That's why I want to share some of my favorite books with you. But before I do that, I'll show you what Vali also sent me. So as I said, she is doing a lot of, she's an artist. And she sent me the coolest thing ever. Okay, just remove this a little bit, like this. So she made this drawing for me. Look, it's me in my on my couch thingy. Here behind me, can you see this? Maybe not. But I have this blue couch where I like to sit with the blanket, surrounded by my plants, and have a tea, or probably more realistic, a glass of wine. And this is so cool. So I will put this in the frame and hang it up. Super cool. And then she also sent me, it looks like also artwork that she did for project probably. So those are lots of Greek gods and goddesses and mythical creatures that she illustrated. And on the back side there is the explanation, for instance, about Pegasus or Perseus, Perseus, I don't know how to say it. She needs to give us a lecture about that. Or this is, I can't pronounce that. Don't even try. Medusa. So super cool. So I can learn about Greek gods and goddesses and all the intrigues and stuff they had going on, sex, crime, and rock and roll. Also, Stephen Fry made some super cool books. They came out last year around this time. Very funny, about Greek mythology. So go and check this out if you're into this stuff, or if you're into Stephen Fry and you want to learn something and not sweat while you're doing it. So this is a good bridge to the books I want to put near to your heart or your mind. As I said, I like to read popular science books. I like to read, but sometimes also listen to it on Audible, for instance. Not sponsored. I'm too small for this. I'm waiting for the day. So I like to listen to it and then also go back and read it, because as you can see, some of the books have lots of marks in it, because I'm also doing a podcast with a friend of mine where we talk about certain things, and that's why lots of markings and stuff in them. Anyway, so I know I have a lot of viewers from especially the USA and Canada, so that's why I'm going to start with this book. This is called 1491. Sorry, it's like the other way around while you see it, but I put everything in the description box. And this is it's written by Charles C. Mann, and it's super, super cool. It talks about the American continent in the year of 1491, or the years before. That means before Columbus got there and started to mess everything up, and also before the Spanish conquistadors came and brought all the nasty things that wiped out 90% or even more of the native population. It talks about the animals that were there, the plants, the people that lived there, the big kingdoms and their way of communicating, their way of traveling, warfare, and the big cities, basically the civilization that was there before the Europeans came and destroyed almost everything. It's also very nicely written, has lots of pictures in it, so I can really highly recommend this book if you want to learn more about the continent you live on, or for all the other people that don't live in America, about like Incas and Aztecs and Olmecs and stuff like that. So it's super cool. Second book is I have two books from this author that I keep pushing her to everyone because I'm super impressed with her. Her name is Andrea Wulff. She's German, but she grew up in London and she's also studied in like one of those elite universities in England. I don't know which one, and doesn't matter. She wrote lots of cool popular science books, and the two I'm going to talk to you about today are The Invention of Nature, that basically talks about Alexander von Humboldt and his contribution to the world. And you maybe remember this name from your school days. Alexander von Humboldt was at one point one of the most famous people in the world, late 1700s. Early 1800s, and he was the man, and he invented stuff and discovered stuff that we still use today, and his name is almost forgotten for some reason, especially also in Germany. You cannot believe, as he comes from Berlin. Actually, he grew up a couple of streets where I live. He traveled the world. He went to the Orinoco River. He was one of the first, environmentalists. So he brought this like destroying of the nature and the repercussions this has for humans and for everything to the forefront. He spent a lot of time with all of your US presidents and also with Simon Bolivar, and so it's a super interesting book. He also talks a lot about German philosophers and the Romantic movement at this time. So I can recommend it. If you're good with reading, read it. Otherwise, as audiobook will also work perfectly. So it gives you a lot of knowledge about the white mans that still shape us till today. So even if you don't agree, it's a good thing to know. The second book from her is fabulous, especially if you're into landscape gardening. This talks about why, how, and whatnot about the English gardens, the English botanists, that with the colonization and everything that happened, with England being the biggest player in the world at one point, and then all those like ships that went out to collect plants or collect animals, plants and whatnot, how this worked, why this worked. Then they brought it back to England, then they started to build those big horticultural societies, private gardens, whatnot. Super interesting for the story of the topic that we are all into, plant collecting. So this is a book you should, at least skim through. Skim through? I don't know. When you want to know, that where your hobby comes from. So those were the first people that did it. So in the last book I want to share with you is for all of you who are a little bit more nerdy. It's from Tim Flannery. It's called Europe, and Tim Flannery is an Australian author that also wrote multiple books. One is called The Future Eaters. It's about the Australian Aborigines and how they cultivated and shaped the Australian continent. This is about Europe. And he is a paleontologist. That means this book is about dinosaurs and long frames of time in our world, millions and millions of years this happened and that happened and blah blah blah, and he describes the movement of the big animals that lived here in Europe and how they were discovered in the 18th and 19th 18th and 19th century. How the first scientists, started to, they were not even scientists, they mostly were like rich barons and landlords and stuff like that dug up a field and then found a huge dino, bone and stuff like that, and how this became a science, and sorry. And lots of funny stories, and also you can learn about all the cool animals that lived in your backyard that you would not think, like giraffes and stuff in Germany. It was not Germany then, but you know what I mean. So this book is also a super cool book. It's a good gift if you know someone who likes to read and learn stuff. So anyway. That was it for me, my little nerdy info plant dead leaves video for today. Please check out Vali's channel. She is a lovely, lovely lady, and we need her. We need her to explain to us why the name of the plant is the name of the plant and how to pronounce it correctly. All right. People, have a lovely day. Good luck hunting Christmas presents. And I see you next time. Bye bye.